Welcome to episode 110 of Instant Expertise Marketing, the show that makes you AI fluent in less than 15 minutes. Today, we're actually pressing pause on that crazy AI hysteria to talk about something that doesn't get enough airtime. Not what AI can do, but what it can't do. And that's actually a huge opportunity for marketers. I'm Yvette Brown, co-founder of X Promos. I became an entrepreneur at 23 when I began a promotions agency with my then 29-year-old business partner, Shari Nomady. Together, we've built campaigns for global brands, and now we're helping marketers and business leaders use generative AI to double their productivity without losing their minds.
And I'm Shari Nomady. Yvette and I don't always think alike. She's all in early, and I'm a little more like, prove it to me, and then I'll be in. But when it comes to AI, Yvette and I are both aligned. Your job isn't to compete with machines, it is to lead them. And in this episode, we're breaking down the true human roles that still matter in an AI-powered workflow, and why marketers who lean into this hybrid mindset will thrive.
Now, here's the spoiler right up front. Your value is not in how fast you can type. It's in how well you can steer, safeguard, and shape the work that AI has accelerated for you. So we're going to go ahead and break that down by the very first task that should be handled by a human, which is defining the objective. As you guys all know that are using AI, it is fast. But the direction for what you're trying to accomplish really needs to come from you. And yes, AI can create powerful strategic guidance that looks like it's a report that came from a top consulting firm. But trust me, none of that's going to be helpful or useful unless you provide it direction around your business goals, your audience mindset, and your market dynamics.
In other words, if you don't tell AI what you're aiming for and why, then it's going to give you content salad, basically.
Totally.
So here's a prompt. You're a senior marketing strategist. Given the particular target audience and our specific campaign goal, give me the top 3 strategic angles to differentiate us in a very crowded market.
Yeah, and if you don't give it the context that we just talked about, it's just another case of bad input equals bad output. You guys hear us talk about that all the time.
That's life.
You have to frame your problem before the AI is going to be able to generate anything useful and not, like Shari said, just a content salad.
All right, next up, are you ready? Making judgment calls. AI doesn't know your brand's tone or your customer sensitivities or what feels off. It is, however, supremely confident in its responses.
I wish I had the confidence of our AI, right? Like,
it's funny sometimes. And it may confidently serve you up some copy that sounds like a used car ad, for instance. And even though you're selling enterprise software to CTOs.
Yeah, and it's really your job to gut check the work, to ask, does this really resonate? Are we pushing too hard? Are we saying, like, what it's saying, does this really sound like us? And we, for instance, always double check our work. Like, for example, we will say, review this draft and flag anything that feels off-brand, pushy, or out of touch with the B2B buyer personas in our specific tech space. And the thing is, I want to stop here because there is so much talk about workflows and AI agents doing all of these things. And while that is where we're heading, there's no doubt about it. But it's the job of the humans to set those things up and create those guardrails and to check this work along the way and decide and manage those checkpoints. So Even if you say, well, yeah, but AI knows my persona, or yeah, it already knows my brand colors or whatever it is, trust me, you're going to want a human in the loop because it's not always following directions as well as it should. And you need to have that oversight before you just go on and set things out there in the free world.
So basically, what all that means is AI can put together an outstanding draft. Draft, that's the right thing, draft. But you, as the human, still need to direct, improve, and gut check.
Yep. And, that brings us to another blind spot, which is catching context, ethics, and brand fit.
And AI doesn't know what happened in your industry last week, or that a competitor just launched a nearly identical message as yours. And it cannot see any legal or ethical red flags coming. But this is where you come in because you can see those. And this is just more proof that we need humans interacting with our AI for the best result.
Yeah, and this is really where the big risk lives. Without a human review, you are one tone deaf email away from a PR disaster, right? And this has already happened. You've probably seen it countless times to these major brands who have leapfrogged to automated workflows without regards for the human in the loop, without regards for the guardrails that we're talking about. So, for example, it's best practice to go ahead and evaluate your content for bias. As an example, you might say, act as a brand compliance officer, review this content, and provide feedback on potential ethical issues, cultural insensitivities, or risky phrasing. Right? That's all you have to do. And you need to start getting in the habit of doing those things as you are leaning into AI to draft more and more of your work and your workflows.
So, guys, the bottom line is the bigger the stakes, the more essential it is for your judgment to come to play. And here's a big one that people overlook: improving systems over time.
And the thing is, AI technically doesn't really reflect. It doesn't say, hey, that CTA bombed. Let's try a new one based on the data.
That's right. You're the one who reacts to the connections and puts the dots together. An AI might alert you to changes in response rates or lead quality, but you need to guide the response. So here's a prompt example that you might use. Based on campaign performance over the last quarter, recommend 3 specific improvements to boost our conversions while keeping our tone and offer intact. Right?
Yeah, that's a great one, Sherry. I really like that one. Because humans, we tend to think in systems, we connect the dots. AI, it thinks in tokens, right? It's
Right.
connecting the most probable next phrase in the output that you've asked for. And that's a really big difference.
Mhm.
So, what does this all mean, in the big picture?
Well, it means that your value isn't in how fast you can write an email. It's in how well you steer, safeguard, and shape the work so that AI can help you produce the best material.
And that's really it. If you follow these strategies, you're not going to be replaced. You're going to be refocused from sort of a task doer to a strategic lead, guiding your AI, generative AI, down the course that works best for you and, the fit within your business.
Yeah, so if you can define the goal and apply your judgment and spot the risk and improve systems, AI is much less likely to ever take your job. However, it's a big one. Someone who knows how to use AI better than you could possibly take your job.
Yeah, and that's the reality of where we're at today. And with that, that's a wrap on episode 110 of Instant Expertise Marketing. If this helped you breathe a little bit easier, we hope it did, or if you see your value a little clearer, please forward this to a team member or someone that you think would be interested. You can always also visit us at xpromos.com/AI for details on how we can guide you and your team specifically and one-on-one to greater AI literacy.
And remember, AI is not the enemy. Mediocre thinking is the enemy. All right, we'll catch you next time.